Hey guys, want to bring you another YouTube video on my prediction of the 2020 NBA playoffs. Still kind of recording a day early, but I think we kind of know who the number 8 seed is going to be. I feel like for the Western Conference Finals, or sorry, number 8 seed between Portland and Memphis, and I'll tell you why. So let's go down. I'll predict each round for the Eastern Conference first. So if you take a look at the top, we got Milwaukee and Orlando. I think Milwaukee is going to win that because Giannis should be back by then. I think Orlando is pretty healthy, but for the most part, I think it's not going to be a clean sweep, but I could see it 4-1 Milwaukee to advance easily. The Miami and Indiana, I think that's going to be an interesting matchup. TJ Warren during the regular season and Jimmy Butler. I could see this Miami going 4-2. So Miami should be able to advance, but I think it could take 6 games. Boston and Philly. I am going to go with that one. I feel like Boston, now that Ben Simmons is out and hurt indefinitely from the last reports. So that's going to be a lot of points in playmaking that needs to be done. So I don't think they have that enough depth to go up against Boston. So with Boston, I think it's still going to be a decent matchup depending on Joel Embiid, on how well he plays. But it is a chance for him, an opportunity to actually give him an opportunity to show how well he could play without Ben Simmons and maybe build around him, which is still a risky take at this point. But actually, both players are risky at this point because both have not really been healthy and been able to play a full season. So I'm going to go with Boston again, 4-2. So 6 games on that one. And then Toronto and Brooklyn. I see Toronto, one of the hottest East teams, actually. Toronto, I'm going to go 4-1 out of respect. So, because Brooklyn did play well against Portland. But yeah, I see it 5 games for that one. So then, moving our way back up. So Toronto against Boston. That one's a good one. Matchup wise, I think it's a pretty good even matchup there. I think Toronto has maybe enough. I'm going to go 7 games Toronto over Boston. Miami and Milwaukee. So Milwaukee has been kind of questionable for me. Haven't been as hot as I thought or played as well down the stretch. So that one, I'm going to go 7 games also. I'm going to choose an upset because there is really no clear home court advantage there. So I'm going to go with Miami. I just feel like maybe with the defense and then so much expectation, I feel like Giannis at this round would be probably more of you could compare it to Lamar Jackson. Like, it's not able to because he needs maybe another weapon. Now, if Bledsoe comes back, then maybe that will work. But I just don't. I feel like Jimmy Butler could be the Kawhi Leonard of last year to be able to help stop Giannis that way. So I'm going to go Miami to go 7 games there. So next one, I'm between Miami and Toronto. I feel like the way Toronto has been playing and how impressive, they are a tough matchup. I think the experience helped them, and they do have a lot of depth, I feel like. Miami is up there, I feel like, too. But I'm going to go with Toronto, surprisingly. I'm going to go Toronto over Miami 7 games, and they'll be representing the Eastern Conference Finals. All right, so now we're going to the West. I am going to say, because Memphis is technically the 9th seed and Portland is the 8th seed. The play-in game, the way it works, whoever is the 9th seed needs to win 2 games, and Portland, which is the 8th seed, will only need to win 1 game to get in as an 8th spot. So I feel like Portland can do that, and they've already played each other in the bubble. And I think Damian Lillard is playing lights out. And Memphis isn't healthy. They're a young team, so I'm going to go with Portland getting as the 8th seed. Now, this is where I feel like the Lakers would prefer Memphis because of their youth and inexperience. I feel like Portland is going to be a tough matchup for the Lakers and how hot they've been playing. So I'm going to go with an upset, actually, with Portland because, like I said, there's no home court advantage. So this is where all the wackiness and craziness can happen. So I'm going to go with Portland winning it out in 7 games against the Lakers. If I get this right, you'll probably hear back from me again. And I know all these Lakers fans are not going to be happy with what I just picked. So I'm going to go with Portland, 7 games against the Lakers. Now, Houston and Oklahoma City. I'm a Houston Rockets fan. This was probably one of my worst nightmares for the first round. I was hoping Houston could draw based on, like, try and move up the 3 seed and try draw Denver or Utah. Would have been my preferred, or even Dallas. But that was a tough task. And so now they're stuck with Oklahoma City. As an NBA fan, I think most people probably are going to look forward to this matchup because of the bad blood and how things turned out. Now, it would have been more juicy and exciting if Russell Westbrook was 100%. He is limping into this playoffs, and they already said he's going to miss a few games. Now, a few games to me could be 2 games, or maybe I'm wishful thinking. So it's at least 2 or more games. Now, whether that is going to be all 4 games or if they could extend it to 7 games, I think it could go 7 games. And maybe I'm hoping. So I'm going to choose the Houston Rockets. And this is maybe wishful thinking or being a fan, but this is what I could see maybe playing out. Now, I could see also if Russell Westbrook does not come back in this series, I think it could actually go 5 games or even 6 games for Oklahoma City. So the key thing is Westbrook needs to be back. They need to be able to withstand it because Oklahoma City did beat Houston twice, 2-1, I believe, this season. So, but Harden has been looking good. So this is going to be a matchup of who's a better leader in this case. Who could make a point, Chris Paul or James Harden, in the sense of how things turned out. And I think James Harden has a lot to prove. And I think he's going to ball out. The thing is, I don't know if Chris Paul, at his age, because of his history of injuries and how things turned out, like, put together so fast, and how he was out for a while with this layoff. So I'm going to go with Houston, thinking maybe Chris Paul could get injured, and that like pull a hamstring or a quad, just like Russell Westbrook, or Russell Westbrook will be back early enough or on time before they could be eliminated. So, or if they were eliminated. So I could see games I'm going to say 7 games, Houston Rockets. Um, Denver and Utah. I think Denver, this one's another good matchup, I think. There's a lot of depth on both sides. I like both sides of their bench. Um, gosh, it's more of who's healthy and who's been playing well together. I think they've been playing about the same level. I'm going to go, gosh, who has more depth and probably, and who's young enough, or I'm going to go actually with Utah. I'll go with Utah 7 games. Reason being, I think Conley will make a difference for them. I think also Joker was actually probably, if he was when he had the virus, maybe it affected him in a sense. I know Rudy Gobert said it's still affecting him with his smell and taste. So, I just think there might be a little bit more depth with Utah. So I'll just go with Utah, 7 games. The Clippers and Dallas. Clippers swept Dallas in the regular season. I feel like Dallas should be able to play better, but they're still a young team. I'm going to go 4-1 for the Clippers. Next round, I'm going to go with Clippers and Utah. That's the matchup I chose. I'm going to go with the Clippers. 6 games. I just feel like they will be playing better. You got Kawhi Leonard experience. They're going to be ready for what is expected. So I feel like Clippers are going to advance next round, and they should have more of their players back by then from the virus, from their bubble. Houston and Portland. I think, that one's going to be a tough one. Portland's been playing really well. But I think Houston should be able to pull that out if they have Russell Westbrook back. So I'm going to go Houston, 7 games. It's going to be a great matchup there, I feel like. But I think the pace, which benefits both, but I think if they could slow down Damian Lillard and just outrun the bigs of the Portland, they should be okay. So I'm going to go with Houston 7 games, assuming Westbrook is healthy. All right, so I got Houston and Clippers. That's where I think Houston's going to run into trouble because of the wings of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George being able to play defense, and you have Patrick Beverley, pretty good defender too. So I'm going to go with Clippers. I'm going to say 7 games. So you have Clippers versus Toronto. And so this is where I think would be great finals because of what happened. But I feel like going into the season, I thought the Clippers were a better team than the Lakers. I thought they had more depth with the Clippers. So I'm going to still keep my original pick. I'm going to go with the Clippers, 7 games against Toronto. So that's your bracket. A quick recap. If you're wondering, first round, again, Milwaukee will win, Miami will win, Boston will win, Toronto. And then second round, it will be Boston versus Toronto. I got Toronto winning that one. Then I have Miami upsetting Milwaukee. Then I have Toronto beating Miami, representing the Eastern Conference Finals. Western Conference Finals, I have Portland representing as the number 8 seed. Portland will beat out the Lakers. Then I have Houston beating out Oklahoma City. I have Utah beating out Denver. Then I have the Clippers beating out Dallas. Clippers will beat out Utah in the second round. Houston will beat out Portland in the second round. And then the Clippers will beat out the Rockets in the Western Conference Finals to represent the Western Conference. And then I have your Clippers as the 2020 bubble champions. Go ahead and hit that like button if you like the video, and if you agree on any of it. What do you think? What do you have in the NBA Finals? Or do you think any of this is going to be even close? Where am I totally off? Again, go ahead and like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thanks.